from the Institutes for Research. I'm here with my colleague Ben Mullet, and it's exactly 3 o'clock, so we are going to get started in walking through this tour of the new osepideasthatwork.org. Because we only have a half an hour, we're going to quickly walk through the main portals of the site and then leave some time at the end of the presentation for questions. We'll also be monitoring the chat box if you have a question as we're going through that you want us to address at the end. This webinar is also being recorded, and we will share the link. And we will be sending out a poll when we're wrapped up to hope that you can provide us feedback as we continue to build out and improve the site.
Great, thanks, Mel. So, like Mel said, my name is Ben Mullet, and Mel and I have both been working on this project for a while now, and so we're really excited to be able to share this with you. Today we're going to just quickly walk through a little bit of the background about how we came to develop the site and talk about the thought process that went into the structure and the content that is contained on the site. Then we're going to have a walkthrough of the actual website and show you a few pages that we think that you'll find interesting. Finally, we'll talk a little bit about where you can find the resources that you might have seen before on tadnet.org as part of the site is bringing over the content from them, and talk about what's going to happen down the road with OSEP Ideas That Work. And then we'll have time for your questions. And then, like Mel said, after the webinar, something we really have in mind is we want to have your input. So be on the watch for the survey after the webinar. That'll actually be distributed. You can check on it immediately after the webinar closes, and it'll be sent in a follow-up email tomorrow. So just a little housekeeping before we get started. You have joined the webinar muted. That means that we can't hear anything that you say right now, but you can at any time use the questions box to ask a question about what we're going over. And we're planning right now on handling all the questions at the end of the webinar. And if you have any questions after the webinar, feel free to email our contact email address, which is osepideasthatwork@air.org, and that email address will also be displayed at the end of the webinar. So, okay, just to begin, the purpose of this site, we wanted to do some updates for the OSEP Ideas That Work site because it was originally designed in 2005, and it was an old site using dated technology. And it wasn't really necessarily responsive to the current priorities and directives of OSEP RTP. And one of the main reasons that we needed to make this site updated was the end of TAC and TADNet, and that website is winding down currently. We are bringing over some of that content, and you'll be able to see that later. So, like I was saying, we wanted to be basically a one-stop shop. And that meant that we have to cater to the entire RTP audience, which, as you know, is an extremely wide audience with diverse interests. And that old site just really wasn't meeting our needs. So we were guided by one primary question, which was, who is the RTP audience, and how can we organize information for them most effectively? As you know, grantees are a huge part of that audience, but they're not the only audience. So the solution we came up with, and I think it works very well for the site, is a three-portal approach. And you'll be seeing this over and over throughout the website as we walk through it together. Those three portals are federal resources for stakeholders, resources for grantees, and the Find a Center or Grant portal of the site. The federal resources for stakeholders includes general information about OSEP priorities It's relevant to all special education stakeholders. The research for grantees is a little more specialized, talking about information that is particularly pertains to grantees. And the Find a Center or Grant portion of the site has information pulled out that we thought many people wanted to find quickly when they come to OSEP RTP, which is finding a center to help them with their needs or to find information about a particular grant. The site has updated technology, which is really a step up from where we were before. It's mobile ready and has a responsive design, and we can demonstrate that a little bit later maybe. That means that we can access the same site on your mobile phone as you do on your desktop, and it should look great no matter where you're accessing it. It has an incorporation of social media. Here on the right, you see an example of that, where we have a Twitter feed that contains tweets from all around the OSEP network. If you're not following us on Twitter right now, I recommend you do. Our Twitter handle is @ideasthatwork with underscores in it. You see it right there underneath recent tweets in that screenshot. The site also has easy navigation with many different ways to navigate around the site. There are a couple different navigation menus, which I can show you when we look at the home page. There's a couple different search functions that you can use to search both the site and around the OSEP network, and then it has a refreshed appearance, which looks really nice. So like I was saying before, the organization of the site is around 3 primary portals, which are the Federal Resources for Stakeholders, Resources for Grantees, and the Find a Center or Grant portal. Each of these portals contains relevant tools, publications, and links. And here's an example where we have Resources for Grantees. If you navigate to that portal of the site, what you find is the ability to access different areas within that portal. In the Resources for Grantees right now, we have OSEP meetings, program areas, pages, evaluation, Section 508 accessibility, and the information about OSEP peer review. Each of those links leads to even more information. So I just wanted, with this slide, I wanted to highlight the ability of this website to be flexible and adaptable to whatever updates that OSEP wants to provide to its audience. As I hope you can see, it's not too hard for us to envision a change to add on some new priorities or add on new content to this site. And that's really the reason why we organized it into the 3-portal approach, where any new updates should be relatively easy to funnel into these 3 portals. Okay, so now we are going to just show real quickly the homepage of OSEP Ideas That Work, so you have a little bit of an idea of the general layout and navigation tools. There are a few things I wanted to highlight here. First of all, as you can see, we have the 3 different portals that I was talking about before, highlighted in the middle of the page. So when you come to the site, you first of all can navigate directly into the subsection that you find relevant to your needs. There are, in addition to these 3 portals highlighted in the middle of the page, other ways to navigate the site. A menu bar at the top that drops down that again has the content organized around the 3 portals and has each sub areas pulled out in that navigation menu. And that same navigation menu is reflected at the bottom of the page. So the idea is that no matter where you are on the website, you can navigate around the website relatively easily. I also wanted to make sure everybody saw this search bar, which is inspired by a similar search bar that was brought over, that was on tadnet.org, which allowed for a user to either search the site or to search the entire TA&D network. So that search bar is pretty cool, actually. You just type in whatever kind of, yeah, let's go ahead and let's demonstrate it really quick. How about we search for behavior, and then select you want to search the entire TA&D network, and it opens up a new page, which is a custom Google search to search through the entire TA&D network. So hopefully you find that useful. That search bar is also contained down here, so you can access it. It's highlighted here to make sure that people understand that that is an available resource, which we hope you find useful. Other featured resources appear here in the mid-bottom of the page. These are flexible, so we can update at any time what we actually want to highlight. And this is the content that we thought was relevant at the time, and it's relatively easy for us to switch up if we need to. The other, like I mentioned before, we wanted to make this site incorporated with social media. We have the social media toolbar here, so you can share via Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google+, or some other we have many dozens of different social media platforms here. Whichever one you find useful, you can share pages, and this toolbar is on every page of the site. So that's the home page. The first area of the site that we wanted to dig into a little more is the federal resources for stakeholders. Right now, the content included there it encompasses a college and career readiness standards site, which was actually launched last year, now housed within the larger OSEP Ideas at Work site. Toolkits, those were brought over from the old OSEP Ideas at Work. You may remember those if you visited the old OSEP Ideas at Work very often. Topical issues, these are different briefs that provide information about a rotating set of topical issues relevant to OSEP RTP. Right now we have different briefs on disproportionality and equity, English learners, family engagement, and soon we'll have a correctional education topical issues page updated too. We have a resource library, which includes resources from around the OSEP RTP network. That is going to see some updates down the road. I'll talk about those a little bit later. And we have also on this page some links to other federal resources. So we were going to highlight the CCRs page. Yeah, okay. So actually, this is probably good to show everybody how to navigate to this page. You go to the Federal Resources for Stakeholders portal, and the menu bar on the right shows all the different content contained therein. The CCRs page is readily available. This is the sub-site that we have designed for CCRs, and it contains an abundant amount of information, which if you haven't checked out, I really encourage you to. As you can see, it closely mirrors the style of the main site, and we will continue to update that as well. So if CCRs is something that's relevant to you, make sure to check that out. All right, the next section of the site is the resources for grantees area. This includes a page for OSEP meetings, which will be updated and continued to be developed as we go along. The idea is to bring together the other site that AIR maintained, which is the osePmeeting.org site, and bring all that capability on board and update it to make sure that we have the ability to have a website presence that functions well for the two conferences that OSIP puts on every year. The program areas portion of the site has unique pages for each of the 7 program areas that contain information specific to their needs. The evaluation page contains information that a lot of it brought over from the old tadnet.org, including TAC webinars. Those are archived webinars that are useful for evaluation and information about logic models and performance measures. There's a Section 508 accessibility part of the site, also brought over from tadnet.org, that includes information about how to make things Section 508 accessible, and then a page about OSIP peer review. Okay. Oh, I have to pull this up. Okay, where are we? Okay, yeah, so we wanted to highlight the program areas page. So this is the resources for grantees portal of the site. As you can see, the same navigation system as you have before. The program areas pages are accessible right over here. And when you click on that link, the menu expands to allow you to access each unique page for each of the 7 different program areas. These pages contain a lot of useful information. How about we go to the TA&D one that you might find useful. So there we have webinars about reporting and performance measures, and a notice about a shared work collaboration site, which will be coming soon. And we'll talk a little bit about that later too. So we hope you find those useful, and the idea is to allow program areas to take those pages and develop them with whatever content they think would be most beneficial. All right, and finally, the Find a Center or Grant section of the site contains 2 primary pieces of content: the Find a Center and the Discretionary Grants database. Both of these were pieces of content that were over on tadnet.org before. The Find a Center is a tool that allows anyone to find a center to help them with their need quickly and easily. The Discretionary Grants database has information about current funded grants by OSEP.
Okay. And I just, right now the address for the OSEP Discretionary Grants database has changed. So if anyone has the old database in their browser bookmarks, we're going to put the new address in the chat message, and you can look for additional updates coming out, additional announcements coming out, so that folks who were trying to get this information still have access to it.
Thanks, Mel. Okay, so we were going to, as soon as Mel chats that, we can demonstrate the TA Find a Center page. Here's the Find a Center page. So as you can see, the different centers are organized around issues that they help stakeholders deal with. So if you are interested in learning more about early childhood, for example, you can click on that link and access and find out which centers might be able to help you find out the information that you want to know. So early childhood links down to DAISY, ECTA, and ECPC. And you might notice that a number of the centers are listed multiple times, like here's ECPC again, because they have multiple content areas that they focus on. All right, so we're getting close towards the end of the webinar. We wanted to talk a little bit about where you can find your the information from tadnet.org that you might have bookmarked, you might have grown used to, and you might be looking for in the new site. Most of it, as you can see, or a large portion of it, is available in the Resources for Grantees site portal. Everything written here, highlighted in red, is tadnet.org content. A lot of it is embedded in pages that we have developed, hoping to organize it around our new structure. This diagram also appears in a handout. Your handout should be available through the GoToWebinar toolbar in the handouts pane. There are two handouts there actually. One of them is this diagram in a PDF document, and the other one is a copy of the slides. So we hope that both of those resources help you navigate the new site. The features coming soon to the new site will have shared workspaces, both for discussions around topical issues and shared workspaces for program areas. We're really excited about these because they'll allow stakeholders to collaborate and discuss in a collaborative way. Those will be developed in the coming months, so stay tuned for those. As Mel mentioned before, the OSEP discretionary grants database has moved to AIR servers, so that means that we're on a new URL. That URL is listed here. It's also in the chat box. So go ahead and update your bookmarks if you'd like. The improvements to the resource library. We are going to be shifting around the resource library a little bit in the coming days and months. It's going to be shifting to a focus more on big announcements and products put out by the Department of Education and connecting to work going on across all OSEP projects. So this will be a good way for everyone to see the work, see ed priorities and connect it to the wider OSEP network. We also have additional topical issues briefs coming down the road, starting with correctional education. Okay, so that's actually the what we wanted to have covered with the webinar today. It's a very brief amount of time, but we hope that's been useful for you. If you have any feedback, watch out for that survey, which should be distributed immediately after this webinar closes. You also have the chance to respond to that in an email tomorrow. Any additional feedback can be sent to this email address, osepideasthatwork@air.org. And of course, thank you very much for your input. So now we have a little bit of time for questions. I don't think we have any submitted right now, but if you have any questions, please use the questions panel on your GoToWebinar and send those questions in to us. And we'll just take a minute to see whether we get any of those questions in. All right, it seems like we do not have any questions coming in at this point. If you have any questions down the road, please direct those questions to osepideasthatwork@air.org. So thanks for taking a little time to walk through the website with us today. We really appreciate it, and we appreciate any feedback that you have going down the road. Thank you very much, and have a good day.